into. She had some problems making the email address work, for nomadic static that she was doing. So I'm not a techie guy, but I sat down at my computer and we YouTubed it and we figured it out together. I sent her some food through my Domino's app, and we were just laughing, having a good time, trying to make it work. It was frustrating off the start when we couldn't get the email to work, but we got it.
Okay, and that was when?
That's right, Shep. This is the area where investigators made the discovery over the weekend. It is not easy to get to, and it's pretty far from the nearest roadway. But they spent a full day here after those human remains were discovered, now known to be that of Gabby Petito, processing the scene for evidence. Everywhere you look in this small area of the Spread Creek dispersed camp area, you can see orange spray paint markers believed to be where something of significance was documented by investigators. The markings were placed on trees and rocks and in some cases are numbered. In the same vicinity, many people have now noticed a rock cross in the sand along the banks of a stream that's nearby. It's unclear who put it there or when it was created. Earlier today, a preliminary autopsy took place at the Teton County Coroner's Office. Several vehicles were seen leaving that facility, including a large law enforcement utility truck. Outside, a member of the coroner's office could be seen talking to someone, and hours later, it was announced that the remains are that of Gabby Petito. Following that announcement, the FBI issued a new flyer in this case, now declaring Gabby the victim of a homicide. It also asks that anyone who is in the Spread Creek camping area between August 27th and August 30th to give them a call. Now, Gabby's family has not spoken publicly since those remains were first discovered, and we learned through their attorney today that they do plan to speak publicly once they say Gabby's remains have been brought back home.
But then that's not all that happened, because once Gabby was taken to the coroner's office, they noticed a rainbow shining down, looking over at the coroner's office. Doesn't get much stranger than that. This case just doesn't stop, y'all. We covered this a few nights ago. We took a look inside the van and tried to find out what we could see. Turns out a lot of people on the internet then started to cover the situation, and we were on point when it came to that being... It was being reported as if it wasn't Gabby and Brian's van in some places, but of course, it's been confirmed now. That rainbow thing, man, it really has me. The rainbow part of the story, it really gets me. It's just something strange about that. We've got the search warrant involving Gabby and Brian.
Hi, I'm calling. I'm right on the
911 call
by Moonflower, and we're driving by, and I'd like to report a domestic dispute. Florida with the white van, Florida license plate.
What were they doing?
We drove by, and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
He was slapping her?
Yes, and then we stopped. They ran up and down the sidewalk. He proceeded to hit her, hopped in the car, and they drove off.
So after receiving that call, very disturbing phone call, Julie, the police did respond there in Moab, Utah, and that's where we see this body cam video, those images of Gabby Petito that we first showed our viewers last week. She's very shaken up. She's crying almost uncontrollably throughout this.
And I don't know what this map is, but it has something to do with a possible Brian Laundrie trail cam sighting, okay? So basically, there's a trail cam here in the Baker area, an hour and 45 minutes. I guess this is showing a flight path. Okay, hour and 45-minute flight. How far of, I wonder how many miles it is. And I showed you that image right there. And the police in that area released a statement. The OCSO is wrapping up an extensive search that took place in this area to include nearby farmlands. Nobody and nothing of note was located. The individual referenced in the post below has no ties to our area. We wanted to let you know we're aware of the report and actively checking it out. And sleuths on the internet took a picture of Brian Laundrie from the same general direction and superimposed the other picture over him. And I have to say, it does look like Brian Laundrie, but there's even more reason to think it may be him. Again, I can't tell you one way or the other. He has a bag on in that picture. And if you look inside their van, it looks like it could be this bag. Now, we've got a better image, if I can find it. Right here. So this is the van from Gabby's perspective when she had it all cleaned up and nice looking. This is that bag. This is that van. Okay? This is the van showing what it looked like sometime near that area, that time frame, and there's this bag sitting there. Right? And if you look at the person standing in that picture, this bag, it looks like it's been stuffed a little bit. It looks like it's been, you know, things have been like stuffed inside of it until it's almost about to burst. But it does resemble this same. If you look at the bottom and you look at the black line right here, and then you go and you look here at this, you can't see the bottom of it. It's facing away from you, but the black line is there. And again, if you superimpose those pictures together just for you to see it one more time, but there's Brian, and there is, and it's a bad image, but it's a trail cam image in the middle of the night. A trail cam. And these images are low light. They can see things in the dark, like a lot better in the dark. Is it Brian? I can't tell you if it's him or not. My gut feeling does I do kind of think it could be. You know? Doesn't mean it is. So, what else do I have for you really quick before we even get started doing anything? One more time. So here's a zoomed in version, and we might be able to do something with that picture. I might actually throw that picture into Photoshop. You'll have to give me time. You know, we do all kinds of stuff here just to kind of get a perspective on what we're looking at. And we could throw this into Photoshop. Actually, I already have a good picture loaded that I could use as the basis. If I could just get rid of these filters, we can go ahead and get our Photoshop ready to go. There we go. We are ready. So we might do that, but I'd like to get a better image. I'd like to get a better look here. Lord, this case. The trail cam is in Baker, Florida, and the FBI stated it's confirmed to not be Brian. Okay, gotcha. So let's take a look at it right here. Okay, yeah. So Baker is right here. Trail cam sighting. All right. Baker is pretty far from the nature reserve. You'd think if Brian was leaving the country, can't you leave the country from southern Florida? You'd think that since he's so close to southern Florida, if he was going to, he would try to, I don't know, do it that way. But, you know, either way. So that's the big reason why so many people took this image as Brian. I'll show you why. First things first, he's got the same kind of like balding look. All right. He's got the same receding hairline and the same facial features. Again, you really can't tell, right? Because of the degraded nature of the photo. And then this bag. And if you look at this bag, okay, it looks like a stuffed version of this bag, which we have a better image somewhere right here. Better image here. So there's that white bag right there, just to keep everybody up to date. You're going to be seeing these things around. You're going to be seeing YouTubers talk about it. So there's a little bit of weirdness going on too. There's a little bit of drama. A YouTuber known as Without a Crystal Ball, someone we know here, has stated that in order for someone to troll or mess with her, they called the FBI and told the FBI Brian was hiding in her house in Minnesota. So according to her, police officers showed up at her door, came into her house to search for Brian Laundrie to check the tip. A lot of people believe she's lying about that and have been calling her out. Other people are calling out, not, you know, just her. There's like a good set of 10 to 15 YouTubers that have been getting called out because of the way they're reporting this story. A lot of conspiracies, a lot of guesses, a lot of misinformation. Somebody was trying to say there was a gun and bullet holes and all this stuff going on. And of course, when people were like, well, how do you know that? They weren't able to show it. Now, I have no clue whether or not those concerns are valid, right? We'll have to like take a look and see. But I just want to keep you up to date. That's the kind of thing that's going on right now. So it's a little bit funny. Now, also, Dr. Phil had Gabby's father on. And this was before Gabby's body was found. The big update now is that Gabby's body, the initial findings of the autopsy, which I do have it somewhere. There's just so much to look at tonight. We're going to read this from the FBI. I actually just got that.
You hear that 911?
Oh, God, we got to start here. John Walsh is on a rampage. I don't know if you guys know who John Walsh is. He's from, like, America's Most Wanted. And he also had a daughter that was, you know, killed in a similar way to Gabby. And he has been on a rampage. I haven't got to watch the clips. I was told that I need to watch them live. They're that crazy. That the clips are that insane. So let's just start it off, get into tonight by looking at what John Walsh was saying.
Somebody who knows
Let's take a look.
all about finding people who don't want to be found. He's basically made his life's passion and work on that. He's the host of Investigation Discovery's In Pursuit with John Walsh. In just 3 seasons, John has helped capture...
Before I get going with John Walsh, I want you to know, I don't think John Walsh is a bad guy, but I don't know, though. I haven't heard anything about John for years, okay? Years and years.
26 fugitives and find 8 missing children and about 1,400 throughout his career. The question, listen, he's not officially a fugitive. He's not officially charged, but John Walsh, do you think you might be able to help catch number 27, Brian Laundrie?
Why do they call him number 27? Anybody know?
Well, that's the reason I'm talking to you.
Yeah, sure. Definitely. It was his son. Oh, it was his son, not a daughter. In 81, he was a child taken from Sears. And that's right. It was a Sears kidnapping. Yes. Yes.
And it's a pleasure to talk to you.
It's been so long. It has been so long since I've heard, watched anything from Walsh or heard about his story. I thought about doing a video on it a few years ago.
He used to work for me, one of the best reporters I ever had, and wish you well on your new gig. But I've always said, and I've been saying it for days, this is a homicide. This dirtbag is out there. I don't know how he got out of the house with the FBI and local cops watching him day and night. And, you know, this semantic BS about person of interest. In the old days, we used to call it the suspect. Now, there's only one suspect. There were no other persons of interest, no other suspects. How did he get out? How did the FBI and the local cops let...
Okay, John's making a good point.
The main suspect
so
get
far.
away. All I had to do is put a deputy sheriff in the front street, a deputy sheriff in the back street.
I think it would be his 27th capture if he got him. Okay, number 27 would be him if he caught him. All right.
They wouldn't have had to search a swamp. And what the family is doing to Gabby's family, what Brian's family, the dirty Laundries, and believe me, they are dirty. When they haven't cooperated, this girl used to live in their house. She was engaged to their son. Their son meandered back from a 4-month trip and parked a Winnebago, her Winnebago, not his, her van, not Winnebago, her van in the driveway for 10 days. So he had 10 days to scrub that. I don't know what the hell the FBI waited so long to get in there, but he had 10 days to clean the house out. He had 10 days to scrub the van. And then finally, the parents went, how could Brian not tell us that he didn't bring her home? How did his parents? How did the dirty Laundries not have the guts to tell us? So they filed a missing persons report, and then they clam up. He lawyers up, they clam up. And think of the gall of this. Last Friday, their famous Johnny Cochran-style lawyer, Bertolino, calls the police and says, oh, the Laundries want to help you out now. On Tuesday, Brian went to a swamp that was nearby, and we were so worried about him that we went and found the car and put a note in it and said, dear Brian, don't hurt yourself. And then we brought the car back ourselves on Thursday, and then we called you on.
I hate that part of the story. It makes no sense. If he was hiking, if he was doing, they wouldn't take the car. They'd leave it for him.
On Friday, we didn't help you at all.
Yeah, Spurgy, who was 6 years old when he was kidnapped. Yeah.
All in the beginning, but now Brian's gone. Well, you know what they did? They bought their son 4 extra days. They bought him 4 days to get a head start. So this Wednesday night, I'm going to focus in on Brian. He's going to be the top of the show on In Pursuit. And as you said, Ashley, I know one thing all these years. Lots of people don't want to call the cops. They don't want to call the FBI. They don't want to get dragged into a trial. They don't want an FBI agent knocking on their front door or a U.S. attorney saying, we need you to help us convict this guy. Everybody in America knows one thing. Call me or text me. I don't trace or tap phones. I don't care who you are, whether you're legal or illegal, you're a gangbanger, whatever. There'll be no revenge, no retribution. Nobody know you called. So call me. I'm saddling up to catch this dirtbag.
Ooh, baby.
Okay, over the break, I want you to dig up the phone number, and we'll get that out.
I'm watching that show tomorrow. It's tomorrow night, right? Somebody, if you know the name of the show, type it in the chat for me because I want to watch it. I think I might try to record it and pull some good clips for our live show. Maybe we can go over John Walsh's show tomorrow. Maybe not because it might be later than my show. Maybe we'll hit it Thursday. But yeah, make sure you keep me updated. I want to watch
out there
it.
to our viewers, John, so that if anyone out there is watching, they will call you.
Reporter Brian Enton has a still frame of the car being back at the parents' house on Wednesday, not Thursday. Yeah, I've heard that. I think we reported that a day or two ago. And that tells us there's something very strange with the parents of Brian Laundrie. If they do believe Brian is on a hike or on a trip or whatever, why take the car back? You're only taking the car back if you know that Brian is going to peace out, if he's going to take off. That's just my opinion.
And hopefully we can, get another caller under your belt there. After the break, John, I also want to ask you, and I kind of know the answer, but it's the trust factor. Why would anyone have trusted what these parents said after they gave him what we think might have been a 4-day lead time escape?
The name of the show is In Pursuit on the ID channel at 9 Eastern. Excellent. Excellent. I might be able to get us some clips from it for our live stream.
If that's what's happening.
Thank you, Wildflower. Yeah, Wildflower In Pursuit with John Walsh. Gotcha. ID Network. That will be nice. That'll be nice to see.
And maybe longer, because who knows if the... Why do you think the police believed the Laundrie parents when they said, 4 days ago we went on a hike, but a day after that they went and got his car, never said a word?
I don't believe a single bit of that garbage.
To them, possibly giving Brian 4 days lead time to make a run for it, or possibly giving him a full week if he was never in that house to begin with. If on September 11th...
Okay, we're going to get moving. We're going to get into this stream. I just want to let you know, make sure, because YouTube demonetizes every single stream about this subject. If you'll do me a solid and like or dislike or share the video, it'd help out. You don't have to, though. And make sure you look at the front of my channel. You subscribe to both this channel, my live... This is a new channel, right? This is my new, live channel. I made it about a year ago. And my main channel is Unirock 2, and I've got a video I'm uploading about the story, the Gabby Petito story tomorrow on Unirock 2. I know that it was supposed to be out today. You guys know this story changed and changed. You know how much video I've had to process? I finally went into Discord and live streamed in Discord me processing the video so that the Discord peeps would understand, how much video we're dealing with to be able to commentate on this. It's insane.
When she was reported missing, he took off. Why would the police believe these parents?
It's beyond me, because the number one thing police do is they're suspicious of what people tell them. So yeah. I can't figure that out.
Mike G says, here you go, $4.99. Hey, Mike, you didn't have to do that, but I appreciate it. Every little bit helps you around here, so thank you, sir.
But I've got to say one thing. This is a whole trilogy of sad things that shouldn't have happened. Number one, that 911 call that we heard yesterday, had that 911 caller that took the call, that wonderful tourist.
We're going to listen to the 911 call because I know some of you haven't heard it. If you give me a few minutes, let's just hear what John has to say. We're going to play. And it's really disturbing because we've got to talk about a change in the fabric of this story. Now, here's what's up. You guys know we've got a video, body cam video. We went over it for hours. It was Gabby and Brian being pulled over due to them having an altercation, and a witness at the area and another person calling the police. And the police come and pull them over, and you've seen the result of that. During the body cam footage, Gabby and Brian both tell the police that Gabby was the aggressor, and they treat Gabby as the aggressor. I didn't think Gabby's body language and Brian's body language, the way they talk, the way they act, difference in emotional response, Brian's cold demeanor, all was indicative of Gabby being the aggressor. And my live chat was mad at me. My live chat was pissed off. Some of them. Some of them didn't like the fact that I took that stance, looking at the body language. And you can go back and watch that live stream. Now we are finding out a 911 caller is called in, and it is recorded that they witnessed Brian slap Gabby outside of the vehicle before they got in. Then the resulting chaos ensued. Also, I don't have a source for this. I've been My moderators hopefully will help me find it. Though a family member of Brian and Gabby have come out, or I'm sorry, an acquaintance, a family member, a friend has come out to state that they witnessed Brian being extremely controlling and extremely demeaning toward Gabby months before all of this happened. I don't know, the details of the situation when it comes to I also need to grab the homicide report because, Gabby, it's the initial findings on the autopsy, if you haven't heard, are indicating homicide. But we don't have the details. We just have the initial report. But from everything we're seeing, I think a pattern is starting to emerge. It's very common in those types of engagements for a female or a male. You can reverse the roles if you want, to cover for the other side. Maybe because they don't want a certain one of them going to jail. They don't want to have to deal with Gabby or the aggressor having to do a bunch of classes or whatever it is. But, I don't want to ramble, but you get me where I'm there. So let's take a listen to John. Then we'll hit the 911 call.
Was going through that town and saw Gabby and Brian.
Was it Rose, Blue? The lady's name is Rose, her best and only friend in Florida. Wildflower T says they have it. Okay. Well, if you let my moderators know, they might be able to get it to me in my Discord server. So yeah, we'll see if we can grab that.
Bad enough to pull over and call the 911 operator.
Here we go. We got a source. Thank you, Navy. Gabby Petito's best friend claims Brian Laundrie had jealousy and control issues. He even stole her ID once to stop her from going dancing at a bar and made her delete a tracking app so that her pal could always locate her. So if we scroll down, fiance of missing van life woman Gabby Petito presents himself as a sweet and caring guy, but it's actually jealous and controlling, her friend has claimed in an exclusive interview with DailyMail.com. Rose Davis said Brian Laundrie, 23, allegedly went so far as to hide Gabby's ID so she couldn't meet up at a bar with her friends. And he's got jealousy issues and struggles from what Gabby called these episodes, okay? This is why I think we need to, consider what's really going on here. You've got one of Gabby's best friends, or her, single best friend, as this person describes, stating Brian has episodes. Episodes. That kind of pisses me off.
And say to him, I just saw a guy beating a girl on the street. I pulled up behind him and pulled next to him, and I saw this same guy beating her on the front seat of the car. That was never translated.
I think I'm going to start watching John Walsh's show, because John's on point. John is saying what a lot of people won't say. Rose is the friend that witnessed the controlling behavior, says Blue. Exactly, yes.
Related to the two deaths.
Jennifer says it's also kind of telling. She had to find a friend on an app. He obviously had major control issues. And that is an indicator, especially when reporting episodes from Brian. I don't like that now, because we know something happened. If Brian's not found, we may have almost, this might be all the information we get if Brian's gone. They need to get him. They have to get him. Also, we've got from the FBI a news release, the September 21st, 2021 today. And looks like we'll get into this in just a minute, but I want to hear, I'm kind of liking what John's saying. Let's listen to John for a minute, and then we'll hit the FBI release, and then we'll go to the 911 call.
Deputies that pulled him over. He had total control of her. Classic domestic abuser. I
agree. And I'll even go back into the body cam again and give you my perspective on how I do believe Gabby was making excuses for Brian and was basically in a abused, now I don't want to say the word abused, but she was in a damage control state during that body cam.
And she was scared to death and crying. This girl weighs 100 pounds. She was terrified. And these two poor cops didn't get the intel from the 911 operator that he was the aggressor. He told them a bullshit story that her phone, she dinged him on the face because you could see him. He was controlling the whole thing. And I watched that 911 call today and that interview, the cop cam interview, and I went, she's terrified.
I did too, John. Thank you. Her body language showed she was, I remember stating that she was cowered over. Gabby was reacting in a way where, well, Brian was acting in the opposite. He was standing up straight. He was trying to engage in a friendly manner. Gabby was being apologetic. Gabby was hunched over in almost a cowering reaction, right?
They tell she's crying, she's shaking. He's right there. He's the bad guy. And in their report, they wrote that he was the victim and let them go. I can only imagine.
Isn't
she
that
might
just...
be
It's
alive.
insane.
She
It's
might
insane.
have
So
been alive.
weird.
It's just so sad. It's so sad.
And you know
then
something?
the cops fall for this Bertolino lawyer. They fall for this lawyer who's BSing them the whole time. Oh, Brian's in here. Brian's here. The parents don't need to cooperate because it's Fifth Amendment. I get all that. I get all that. But he's not just a person of interest. From day one, everyone in this country felt the same way I did a week ago or 5 days ago, that he was the perpetrator and she's probably dead in the desert. That's what the odds are. And that's exactly what happened. And they buy this ruse that Tuesday he went to the swamp. It gave them 4 more days to get ahead. And I'll tell you what, at some point, these parents are going to have to pay. They're going to have to pay for being an accessory for putting him on the run.
Ooh.
And they better not help him because, you know, now these days...
Yeah, I think it's obstruction of justice if this turns out to be a big ruse. But then again, I'm still shocked that they didn't have probable cause to just go into that house last week.
Exactly. Thank you.
The man was driving a missing woman's van. To me, that's probable cause. Get a warrant.
And they weren't married. They weren't married yet. They were just engaged. I understand that being married can cause a little bit of like legal issue in a situation where like that, but that was Gabby's van and they were not married. It shouldn't have happened that way.
Go in, don't knock, just go in. There's a woman missing and there's exigent circumstances. I want to play that 911 call, John, that you just...
Thank you, because now we don't have to go grab it.
Just talked about, because I think it is extremely telling. I had to...
Hey, Modern Prospector, great to have you. Modern Prospector says, former law enforcement officer here, disabled. I'm former Army soldier, disabled, in a line of duty. Modern Prospector says, just here to try to provide a potential insight into the case based on my training and expertise. Modern, we'd love to hear anything you have to say, buddy. Type away.
To rewind it.
Glad to have you.
Listen to it again, thinking I misheard it, because the police report said she was slapping him. She was hitting him.
Well, that's common in these types of situations, because if you're the aggressor and you're trying to get out of the situation, you're going to try to control the person you're abusing into giving that type of excuse to the cops so you don't get put up.
But now we can hear from the witness.
Modern Prospector, Navy is a current Navy soldier, and he hangs out with us all the time also.
Witness who called 911, and this is how the witness described it to the 911 operator. Have a listen.
We drove by and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
He was slapping her?
Yes, and then we stopped. They ran up and down the side.
So this is before they even got into the vehicle. If you notice, Gabby and Brian both only describe what happened from when they were in the vehicle. And to hear somebody describe what they saw before and that would kind of explain why Gabby was trying to pull the steering wheel or pull his arm, pull him over. And Brian was like, remember how when the cops pulled him over, the cops said that Brian was increasing his speed. He was going fast. And then Gabby's it was almost like Gabby wanted him to stop so she could get help. It was almost like they kind of thwarted some kind of situation there if you listen to what happened, right?
He proceeded to hit her.
Check Gabby's right upper arm when she's in the police car. You can see a red mark. Oh, yeah. Did you see where Brian was showing his hand? We're going to pull that video again. He's sitting there shaking, and he's got these marks on his hand, and the officer sees it, and he takes pictures.
Hit her, hopped in the car.
Hold on. I want to hear this audio again. Let's hear this audio real quick. I want to make sure
We drove by and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
Brian was slapping Gabby.
Slapping her?
Yes, and then we stopped. They ran up and down the sidewalk. He proceeded to hit her.
So he hit her multiple times. Why would a 911 caller who saw them before they entered the vehicle lie like this? I don't think that a 911 caller would lie like
Hopped
this.
in the car, and they drove off.
Okay, you said it's a white van?
White van. I give you the license plate if you give me 1 sec.
So that was a complete boondoggle because clearly he was a dangerous person. And by the way, John, did you hear also that in that material that came from the hard drive, it was determined that the messaging and phone calls between Gabby and her mom, they were growing increasingly panic-stricken, meaning that Gabby was becoming more stressed about her relationship with each and every...
This is the kind of reporting we need right now. This is what we need. We need people asking these questions.
Every communication with her mother. That is just so distressing.
Well, I'll tell you, it's sad. Now, I don't want to knock 911 operators. They're always busy. They're dealing with life and death every day. But how didn't that be related to those two deputy sheriffs that pulled him over? He created the whole scenario that he was the victim. And there she's shaking and crying and scared to death, etc. Like every abuser of women in this country does. They terrify them and the women don't leave and they wind up dead. Well, that's exactly...
And they defend them. They're programmed. Narcissists program people like this. It's almost like some people would call it brainwashing and mind control. And I don't know if you can go that far, but it's very specific.
What happened to Gabby?
I do think that Brian is a bit of a narcissist. Burb says, modern prospector disabled folks unite. Master's forensic social worker worked in. Oh yeah, Burb. No, definitely. You've told us that before.
Thing is that they didn't relay that.
Modern says the Navajo reservation just to the south has a serious epidemic of domestic violence. I believe the officers are desensitized to domestic violence. I talked about this a few days ago. I had a video I was making about missing Native American women in the plague of violence that was causing the missing Native American women, because I had about 10 cases in an extremely short period of time in one little area. But I never got to finish that video. Maybe I can do that video after this situation dies down.
Information that he was the guy slapping her, that he punched her when she got in the car. She was the one in danger. And I'll tell you what, there's been so many...
We kind of know that now because she's the one. A lot of people were saying, yeah, but she was the aggressor according to the cops. She's dead. She's the one that's dead, not Brian, for God's sakes.
Red herrings by this guy. Texting on her phone that they can't get any service in Yosemite.
Oh, yeah. That didn't even make sense, John. How do you know you're not going to have service in Yosemite? It's a giant area. It has cell towers in places. How in the world do you enter Yosemite and say to yourself, well, I better text my family and let them know that I'm not going to have service in Yosemite? How do you know? Nobody does that. Such a ruse. John is on point. John is on point.
That she's not with the guy. And then he started sending texts, I need to talk to Grandpa, a name that he never used before.
Yes, she called the grandfather by his legal name and had never done that her entire life. That would be like me. I never called my grandmother by her legal name. And that would be like me sending a text message saying, tell grandmother's legal name that da-da-da-da. It doesn't make sense.
He didn't know the nickname of her grandfather. So right away, but I'll say this, Ashley, I don't think there's a judge in this country, if I went to him and said, here's a guy that's been holed up in his house without his fiance after a 4-month trip for 10
while they've been living with each other for years.
He never let her parents that she didn't know that she didn't come back with them. The parents had to file a missing persons report. They lawyer her up and lie to the cops repeatedly. But I would have gone to a judge and say, Judge, this guy's not just a person of interest. He's the main suspect. Something bad happened to this girl. We need to get in the house now. Not today, not a week later, a week ago. When they get in there, because he had a chance to scrub that van. He's no dummy. He looks like a real dumb redneck, but he's no dummy. He scrubbed that van and he cleaned that house out. So they didn't get much today. And I don't know why they didn't go to a judge.
And I wonder if he had help cleaning the van and the home and all that stuff.
Because I don't think there's a judge that would have turned him down. I think a judge went, you know what? Search the van and get in that house. So
I'll tell you what, I'm going to put up that.
It's almost like them lawyering up scared the authorities and said, okay, we got to be careful here.
Thing's been a nightmare.
calamity. But we're going to go to break. But I do want to say, put up on the screen, if you will, the message. I'm going to ask the control room just before we go to break. It was the message.
Good. I want to see this
Message that the parents got on August 27th, saying, "Can you help Stan? I just keep."
Stan, who calls their grandfather Stan when you've been calling him Pappy or Grandpa your entire life? No one.
Getting his voicemails and missed calls.
Inkling says that Brian's mother is a former DA and his brother is a cop. I have heard that. I heard that because there were people on social media from that town tweeting or posting on Facebook, I forget, that he did have connections. Now, people will take that and say that, you know, that means the connections helped him. We have no idea. We just know that he has those connections.
And when you see that, Stan is her grandfather, and her mother says she never would have called her grandfather by his name, Stan. So,
well, if you read the message, put it up on the screen. Put it up on the screen.
That was a lie.
You got to see this message.
That message that her parents marked in the.
Let's go, control room.
Today that message.
Let's go.
That text just was not something that her parents believed for a minute was hers. August 27th. So it gives us a bit of a time frame. John, we're going to work on that little piece of digital information that is getting stuck in our gremlins, but. In the meantime, after the break, I want to ask you about a huge development today. What it might mean for the investigation. What if that matters for a trial?
I'm kind of digging this show. I've never watched it. I'm digging it.
Welcome back to Banfield. Joining me is John Walsh, the host of In Pursuit with
famous John Walsh.
It airs on Investigation Discovery on Wednesdays. It also streams on Discovery Live, and it's a great show. You do great work, John Walsh. I have always said that about you.
We have Discovery, I think, here at the house.
We've got so many bad guys off the street because of your...
Chaz says there are comments on her latest Instagram post saying that it wasn't her that posted it because the tagging wasn't consistent with previous posts. Yes, I tweeted that out when I first found that a couple days ago. So basically, now this is a claim. I didn't check it myself. All of her Instagram posts had location turned on, and it was tagged in a specific way, except for the last two Instagram posts. Let me see if I can, I'll pull up my Twitter and I'll show you exactly what I found.
Commitment to justice. So in this case, do you have any thoughts on the reporting that came from Marcos Ortiz, who works with us? He's out at the Grand Teton entrance to the park area, the campground area, where Gabby's remains presumably were recovered. That coroner came back today and spent the day there. What does that tell you about this scene?
Well, it tells you two things.
The coroner went back to the scene and spent the day there. Check Menace's comment on the bottom of General.
As you mentioned, they took her body away.
The interview with Anderson Cooper is the one where Walsh says that Brian beat... Oh, my God. Let's go over here for a minute. Warning. Warning. In this interview, John Walsh goes ballistic. Just letting you know.
Paul, what do you think?
It was chilling to hear it today, and it made me...
Hold up. I want to turn this up. So let me enable my my audio boost here.
You hear that 911 call. What do you think?
It was chilling to hear it today, and it made me feel really, really bad. Because I said, how is it that 911 operator, and they're hard-pressed and that phone rings all the time. I've been in a ton of 911 centers. Yeah. Didn't get that information to those two deputies that stopped him. I read the deputy's report, and they said he was the victim. I looked at it with an FBI agent friend of mine, and I was terrified when I first saw it, when it didn't come out that the wonderful people who made the call said that he was slapping her. And so the two deputy sheriffs say that he was the victim. And we looked at it, this FBI friend of mine and I looked at it, and I said, this girl's terrorized. This is classic domestic abuse.
Yes, it is.
He's terrorized her not to tell the cops that he was the aggressor. He was the slapper and the puncher. And it's so sad because she might be alive today because that wasn't translated.
Imagine even if they would have arrested Gabby or Brian, or both of them. I guarantee you Gabby would be alive today.
Related to the two deputy sheriffs.
Yosemite translates to killer in English. That's creepy.
Pulled him over. They let him go, and then his report said that she was the aggressor. She was terrified. It just was chilling to see that those cops didn't get the information that the person who called in.
I don't know if you guys know this about Brian, but after we hear John, I got some stuff to show you.
Was so concerned that he pulled over a tourist and called 911 because he saw this guy beat the heck out of Gabby.
Well, I mean, also, how great is it that, you know, we're at a point now where people know to take this kind of thing seriously, and that person had the presence of mind to photograph the van. You know, there are a lot of people who might have seen that and said, oh, you know, it's not my business. It's, you know, it was just a slap or whatever.
Just a slap. Sure.
That person.
Sure, Anderson Cooper. Just a slap.
Took it seriously, and that matters.
You're absolutely right. I've been doing this, and you and I have been talking about it since my son was murdered in the early 80s, my son Adam. It's the public that will solve this case, and I believe the public will catch this guy. I'm going to put him on my new show.
Oh, we've been doing a lot. We've all been doing a lot. Just sharing information in this situation gets it to more people. And the more people that know what's going on, the harder it's going to be for Brian to get away like he's trying to. Just a quick update. We're going to get right back to John talking to Anderson Cooper. On Gabby Petito's Instagram, every post had location added and details a trip, right? Except the last two posts. One on the 25th. As you see in the comments, they make a great point. This picture does not seem like it was posted by Gabby at all. I noticed this myself when going through the Instagram post days ago. Right here at the top, or I'm sorry, here, this post doesn't add up. They were traveling across the country visiting state parks, then all of a sudden, a post where they are back in civilization with a generic description, and this was not posted by Gabby. 9,000 likes on that post, 55,000 here, right? And the other post, just to give people a little bit of context, I went through and showed you what it looked like on Insta. These are the last two posts. Now, this is creepy. It's just her legs. Just her legs right there. I don't like that image at all. But you've got everything's detailing a trip. Everything is outdoorsy, right? And then all of a sudden now, they're just like, right here, this is the last post, the last picture we've got of Gabby. Now that pumpkin in her hand, if you remember when we did our stream the other day, I showed you that pumpkin was on the dash of the van where they found Gabby.
Well, it's our third season in Pursuit with John Walsh on Wednesday night, because I've learned one thing, just what you said right there, Anderson. It's the public that solves these crimes. I caught 1,400 fugitives uncatchable by cops, 17 FBI top 10 fugitives in 45 countries. It wasn't me who caught them. It was the people who called into my hotline. And lots of people don't want to.
It's very true, Spurgy. Stan is a song by Eminem. Look at the lyrics. It's about killing. I think Brian was telling her mommy had killed her. Same with the other text message. If somebody can help me out at the bottom of the general, can anybody get me the text messages that were sent? I want to show these text messages. The last two, people think that, and isn't that strange? 2 text messages were sent to the parents. 2 Instagram posts were posted in a strange way. It always happens in twos with Brian. It's almost like Brian doesn't want to do one because he doesn't think it's enough, but he doesn't want to do more than 2 because he thinks it'd be too excessive, so he settles it too.
Want to call the FBI hotline. They think an FBI agent's going to show up at their house. U.S. attorney will drag them into court. There'll be revenge, rebuttal. But that I think people will understand, and I'm going to do this on Wednesday night. You can call me. I don't care who you are, where you are, what your name is, whether you're legal, illegal, or whatever. Just give me the name, the place, and we'll pick up the guy. So we're going to put the heat on Brian on Wednesday. And the whole thing is so sad, Anderson, because, you know, this family did not help at all. And it's this girl lived with them. Brian's fiance, Gabby, lived with them. And when he showed back up with her van and he laid around the house for 10 days, He could have scrubbed that van. There's no, I bet the FBI didn't find much in that van. They certainly didn't find anything in the house because their parents didn't file the missing persons report till 10 days he's been there. And his family has helped him. You know, this ruse about, and this lawyer here, I hope this Stephen Bertolino, the lawyer, has had enough of his Johnny Cochran, O.J. Simpson 15 minutes of fame, and he starts to do the right thing. They called the cops last Friday and said, well, he left the house on Tuesday distraught with a backpack, and he went out to this preserve so he could meditate, and then we went to see the car. They were lucky to find the car. The parents.
Oh, aren't you just having so much fun meditating, aren't you, Brian?
They left a note for him in case he was sad.
How do you meditate after killing your girlfriend? Like, you gotta be a cold motherfucker to even be able to close your eyes without seeing her face.
And if he needed any help, and then they brought the...
Burb says the August 25th post was probably her. They had just gotten the park on the 26th. Sure. Oh, I'm with you. I'm not saying they're not her, of course. They're very uncharacteristic, though.
Brought the car home
God
on
knows
Thursday,
what happened.
and then this lawyer, this wonderful lawyer, called the cops on Friday and said, we're doing the right thing. We're going to tell you that Brian went to that reserve. You know what it was? It was a red herring. They bought Brian 4 more days to get away. They bought him 4 more days to run.
I agree, John.
It's disgusting.
I agree.
At some point, this family, this mother and father have to realize that somebody's beautiful daughter was murdered by their horrible sociopathic son.
Oh, my God, John. I love it.
And her fiance, and the parents have been helped.
See, that's the thing. When you watch Brian, you know what? Brian kept telling Gabby that she wouldn't make it. She wouldn't make it on social media. And Brian, you're right. When you're around, she's not going to make it. But with you not around, she might have made it because he's faking it. Every bit of reaction you see from Brian in those videos, it's like he's faking it.
Helping him. It's just sad. It's just really sad.
Did I see a super chat by Spurgy? I thought I saw it. Yeah, I read it. Sand is a song by Eminem. Yeah, I read that one.
What steps will investigators be using at this stage, you think, to try to track Laundrie down? I mean, obviously...
Was it the Stan one? It was the Stan one, right?
Obviously, and he...
Oh, text info is on page 4 of the affidavit. All right, let's take a look at it real quick. Oh, hell, we've got the entire affidavit here, dude. Oh, this is too nice. I mean, we get it all, y'all. That's one thing about our stream. We got some really good working peeps here because they get everything. Okay, page 4 of the affidavit here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Your affiant is a detective with Northport Police Department and is currently assigned to the Criminal Investigative Division. Your affiant has been a police officer for approximately 10 years, has been assigned to the Criminal Investigative Division for 9 months, and your affiant is charged with the responsibility of investigating crimes such as the crimes against persons or property and the investigation of missing persons. The subject, Gabrielle Petito, and her boyfriend, Brian Laundries, left from New York sometime in mid-June 2021 for a vacation to Utah, traveling a variety of national parks along the way. While they were on their trip, they documented some of the events in a YouTube video, Van Life, beginning our van life journey. Hold on, I gotta archive this real quick into current live stream because I'm gonna need this for the video I'm working on tomorrow. Finally, get the final parts of it done and update from Gabby, the homicide determination. Okay, during the trip, the subject sent multiple text messages and had many talks with her mother, Nicole, via cell phone communications using her subscriber number, T-Mobile. During the conversations, there appeared to be more and more tension between her and Laundrie. On 8/12, hold on, I need a different song. I need a different song here. 8/12/2021, a report was generated by the Moab City Police Department, Moab, Utah, referencing a domestic disturbance between the subject and Laundrie. In the report, Robbins wrote, "After evaluating the totality of the circumstances, I do not believe the situation escalated to the level of domestic assault as much as that of a mental health crisis." Such a failure to protect Gabby. It was more, I think, of them not wanting to go through the inconvenience of a domestic assault due to the you know, all of the things that they'd have to go through to be able to move forward in their trip, the domestic assault would have tied them down to that one place, in my opinion, right? It believes it escalated to level domestic assault as much as that of a mental health crisis. Robbins stated that the subject was having a severe case of anxiety, per the subject's testimony. Laundrie also told the responding officers he was concerned about the subject because her anxiety had been worsened during the extended trip. Manipulation. Brian Laundrie, that's manipulation from Laundrie. On August 27th, the subject's mother received an odd text from the subject. The text message read, quote, "Can you help Stan? I just keep getting his voicemails and missed calls." The reference to Stan was regarding her grandfather, but per the mother, Gabby never called him Stan. The mother was concerned that something was wrong with their daughter. This was the communication anyone had with the subject, the last communication. Her cell phone was no longer operational, and she stopped posting anything on social media about their trip. Per the family, it was not normal behavior, and they became more worried about her. September 11th, the subject was entered as a missing person by Suffolk County Police Department in New York. Based on report from the Moab City report, it appeared the subject is also endangered due to mental health concerns. On September 11th, the subject's van, a white Ford Transit, bearing Florida tag, was located at her address, and Interstate 75 entered the vehicle. I think that's all from that we need from this, but I'm going to go through this entire thing and pull any relevant piece that I need to show you guys out for the video I'm uploading. So this is the affidavit. This is the arrest warrant, the search warrant.
You would be aware of this as anybody, any kind of, you know.
See Modern's comment. Modern said, just wanted to dispel the rumors that Roberta Laundrie works at the DA or some other law enforcement agency. Both parents worked at their family business of over 40 years. It makes me wonder why Brian wasn't allowed to work for the family business. Perhaps they knew he had a shit personality. Or how about those episodes, Modern? Those episodes that were mentioned by Gabby's friend. And remember, at the beginning of the stream, we'd found that Robin, one of Gabby's only really close friends in Florida, stated that Brian was prone to having what Gabby called episodes. That's not normal.
You know, electronic devices, I guess there's some hope, you know, there might be a ping, or at least where they had been in the past, they might be able to get more of a sense of it from various tracking of electronics. But what are they doing?
Well, it seems to me that the lawyer and his parents are giving him a lot of good advice. I'm sure he's bought burner phones. He's not using any phones that are recognizable. They got to find out where he went into a store and bought a phone with 100 minutes. And they have to keep big, close eyes on the mother and father. They've been helping him all along the way. And I've caught hundreds of fugitives whose relatives helped them. And I caught a guy who was on the U.S. Marshals 15 Most Wanted, and his mother's helped him stay out there.
How is Brian not on a most wanted list right now?
For 5 years. He killed his ex-wife in a domestic dispute in front of their children. But when they caught the mother who had been sending him money and helped him cover it up, she's doing 5 years in a federal prison right now. So these parents ought to do the right.
How did Brian kill her? How? What did you do, Brian? And how isn't it haunting him every second of his life? Like, how do you even go on after doing that?
Thing for Gabby and her family who are brokenhearted. I'm the father of a murdered son. They're the parents of a murdered girl. They ought to decide they got a chance, one chance in life to do the right thing and go in, and the lawyer and the parents, and tell them everything they know. Because I'll tell you what, if they want to see their son alive,
redeem yourselves a little bit.
He might get taken down in a bad capture. So if they're trying so hard to keep him alive, they ought to say, look, son, you did something really horrible. We helped you. We're sorry. It's a terrible thing, but you ought to come in. You ought to come in. And the lawyer didn't give him good advice. I said that the lawyer should have told him to come on his own in where he could have made a deal. But now there's no deal for Brian. They're going to catch him. He's going to get the book thrown at him, and maybe the parents are going to get charged too.
That's right, Cole.
And they're not going to like this guy in prison. He's a guy that beat a 90-pound girl to death. And they're going to catch.
He just said it. John just said it. That he believes Brian beat Gabby to death.
We're going to catch him. I'm hoping the
I don't know. You know, John has a lot of connects. This man can call places, and they'll tell him things. I'm wondering if he's actually been told something that we just don't know yet.
Public will on Wednesday night start calling my hotline, or tonight, Anderson. You and I did a show years ago that after I did the show, if you remember, you subbed for Regis, and we caught a guy off of that show. So I'm telling to people tonight, if you don't want to call the cops, if you don't want to call the FBI, call my hotline and we'll pick this creep up.
You mentioned Adam, your son, who's 6 years old. It's been 40 years since he was abducted. The agony that a parent goes through obviously is something you understand. For the Petito family, it's compounded obviously by the betrayal.
Pure evil. Pure evil.
Of the fiance and the family of the fiance who didn't help them at all. Do you have a message for the Petito family as they go through this ordeal?
My prayers are with the Petito family. I've saddled up. I'm going to do everything I can to help you catch this guy, to make sure he faces justice.
I hope John gets a hold of the father. John needs to talk to the father.
And nobody.
Oh yeah, John's a connected guy.
He knows that pain, the loss of a child. We don't have it in our genes to bury our children, Anderson. You've got kids. You can't imagine if somebody killed those kids and you had to go to their funeral. So my prayers are with them, and I'm trying to help them in my own way. We're both parents of murdered children. It's not closure, Anderson. It's justice. We need to see this creep brought in and pay for this. And my heart is out to them. It just ended in a horrible, horrible way. But this guy's a coward. This guy's a coward who beat and killed a 90-pound, beautiful, wonderful, sweet young lady. So
that's right.
He's going down sooner than later.
John Walsh, I appreciate you being with us again. The program In Pursuit with John Walsh, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern on Investigation Discovery and streaming on Discovery Plus.
Man, that John Walsh. Also, since this all happened, the park ranger came out to tell people, the one that was on the scene, that they warned Gabby Petito that her relationship seemed toxic. And I don't understand how, if park rangers felt that way, they couldn't do something. They couldn't do anything to help her, for God's sake. I want to hear what else John had to say really quick, because we got John here too.
So they got the pathologists on the plane today, the forensic pathologists, and they're going to do that autopsy during the night tonight, probably, and most of tomorrow. But he went back to the scene because they overlook all kinds of things. I remember, I think you worked with me during the days of Chandra Levy, where that crime scene was invaded by reporters so much that they missed 3 of her ribs. Her ribs were in the park. So, you know, they're going to go back and really cover that. They might find something in the dirt, in the sand. They might find a piece of something that he used, if he used a weapon. They need to cover that thoroughly. It's still an active crime scene. And, of course, the sad thing is
that Brian is a straight-up sociopath, man. He's a psycho.
She's been out there and exposed, and probably animals have been after her. I'm hoping that there's enough of her left that they can get a good read on how he killed her. That would be very, very important. But, you know, they're going to work it hard.
That story was in August of 2001. I remember that well. It was right before 9/11 that Gary Condit was under the microscope. Good memory, John. So, and I will say that a photographer was in that area, saw grizzly prints, saw evidence of grizzly. So there is a potential that that is a very compromised body or...
Oh, Lord, that's so sad.
Dean, I just want to ask you to look at this picture with me, John. Gabby's dad posted on social media a picture of Gabby with the image behind her of the angel wings.
Oh, it's such a good... we have an image like that as our thumbnail. It's a really good picture.
You know, it was such a heartfelt image that he posted, knowing what he knows now. I wanted to ask you, as someone who has been through this, who has had a missing child, who has had the worst news with your son Adam, what would you say to Gabby's parents tonight?
Several things. And as you mentioned, they have joined this horrible club that my wife and I belong to, the Parents of Murdered Children. But I look at it as...
God forbid. God forbid.
This beautiful 6-year-old boy is my angel. He's my motivation. We wanted to make sure Adam didn't die in vain. And now Gabby is his angel, his whole family's angel. And she was a beautiful girl, and she was killed by a horrible coward. But I would say to this, the whole country is praying for you. The whole country is in anguish for you. And the best way, I say, for parents of murdered children to deal with things is first get justice. There's no such thing as closure. He'll always have a big chunk out of his heart. That whole family will. There's no closure. It's justice. They need justice. Remember all the good things about Gabby. Remember all the wonderful. Don't celebrate or think about. Don't celebrate. Don't dwell on the one day, horrible day in your life and her life. Think about what joy she brought to you as a family. And I'm going to do the best I can, and lots of other Americans, to make sure you get justice for Gabby.
John, let's put up your number so that if anyone's watching right now, they can call your number as well. It's right there, 1-833-378-7783. As John said, the callers can remain anonymous. I'm going to repeat it, 1-833-378-7783. John, you do the Lord's work. Thank you, sir, for being on tonight, and I hope we can talk again and certainly continue to cover this case together. Thank you, John Walsh.
Thanks for having me, and let's pray I catch that, or somebody catches that guy. Go to my website, call my hotline. Ashley, you worked for me for years and did great, great work. We need to catch this guy before he kills somebody else.
That's right.
Well, he certainly would be desperate if he's on the run right now. I'm going to remind everybody, John, your show In Pursuit with John Walsh airs Wednesdays on Investigation Discovery, also streams on Discovery Plus. Thank you so much.
I cannot wait to see that episode tomorrow night. That's going to be a good episode. And I'm going to try... Excuse me, I had a really bad cold. That's why I didn't stream yesterday. But I'm going to try to grab pieces of John Walsh's video and... of course, under fair use and just the parts I can. And hopefully we can look at some of it tomorrow night here. John being on this case is a good thing, I think. So let's cross our fingers, right?
That's right, Chef. This is the area where investigators made the discovery over the weekend. It is not easy to get to, and it's pretty far from the nearest roadway, but they spent a full day here after those human remains were discovered, now known to be that of Gabby Petito, processing the scene for evidence. Everywhere you look in this small area of the Spread Creek dispersed camp area, you can see orange spray paint markers believed to be where something of significance was documented by investigators. The markings were placed on trees and rocks and in some...
What is that? What is that right there? That's so strange. Number 15. I don't like it. I don't like that.
Some cases are numbered. In the same vicinity, many people have now noticed a rock cross in the sand along the banks of a stream.
Every one of these has a little hole. Every one of these has a little hole in
nearby.
It. Yeah, it's spray paint that the cops put up to denote that there's a discovery, a piece of evidence, or something that they need to keep their eye on, that they need to know. And I don't like seeing these little holes.
Who put it there or when it was created. Earlier today, a preliminary autopsy took place at the Teton County Coroner.
You know what's crazy about that rock cross being there? People aren't allowed in there. They're not allowed back there. They've got it closed off. So that's really strange. I don't know if you guys were here when I showed it earlier. There is a rainbow in the area where Gabby was when they picked Gabby's body up. And it was photographed by residents. Then there was a rainbow above the coroner's office when they took Gabby back to the coroner's office. I put this out on my Twitter at Unirock TV if you guys want the pictures, but it's really prolific and strange, is it not? Here's a release from the FBI. Let's just take a quick look. We've read some of it. Investigators from the FBI, Denver, Wyoming resident agencies, National Park Service, Forest, Teton County, Rescue, and Jackson Police participated in a search for evidence in a remote area of Grand Teton. And human remains were located and recovered consistent with the description of Gabrielle Petito. The remains were transported to the Teton County Coroner's Office for forensic examination to confirm the identity and determine the manner and the cause of death. Teton County Coroner Dr. Brent Blue confirmed the remains are those of Gabrielle Petito. Coroner Blue's initial determination for the manner of death is a homicide. This is from Denver FBI, U.S. Department of Justice. The cause of death remains pending final autopsy results. They're definitely rushing this. Quote, the FBI's commitment to justice is the forefront of each and every investigation, said FBI Denver Special Agent in charge Michael Schneider. The FBI and our partners remain dedicated to ensuring anybody responsible for being complicit, even being complicit in Miss Petito's death, is held accountable for their actions. Mr. Brian Laundrie has been named a person of interest. Anyone with information concerning Mr. Laundrie's role in the matter or his current whereabouts should contact the FBI. The forensic search has concluded of the Spread Creek dispersed camping area, and law enforcement have released the area. The FBI is seeking information from anybody who utilized Spread Creek dispersed camping area between the relevant dates and who may have had contact with Ms. Petito or Mr. Laundrie, or who may have seen their vehicle. The Spread Creek dispersed camping area is located, of course, where I showed you on Google Earth. I might show it to you again later. I don't know. For photos and details, visit the FBI's information poster for Ms. Petito. I've shown you that already. And FBI Denver thanks public for their continued support of the investigation and the valuable tips that have been submitted. We extend sincere condolences to Gabby's family, friends, and all the people whose lives she touched. And I want you guys to kind of have a feel for how people are reacting to the news and to these posts. So let's just go through a couple of the reactions from Twitter. Excuse me. One Twitter user says he probably killed himself and the wildlife got to him. I hope I'm wrong because I would love to see him pay. I also hope his parents are charged for helping him leave. And someone replies, I don't know, man. The sighting of him in Baker, Florida seemed pretty spot on. And you'd think if it wasn't him, somebody would have came forward and said it was them. Gabby's justice needs to set a new example for an age-old crime. All that's left is to skin the chicken, says someone. The killer's parents need to go to jail for what they did to that girl's poor parents. This is bullshit. How can they say it's a homicide if they say cause of death is still pending? It's not bullshit. There are ways to tell. There are ways to tell. This is absolutely heartbreaking. Brian needs to be arrested now. I agree. His parents will be investigated and likely charged. They waited nearly 4 days to report that he's missing. It's a great head start. Then planted his car somewhere big until it got noticed, sending authorities to waste time searching a place he never was. Shady AF. Do you think that Brian Laundrie was ever in the reserve? Do you think that that was just a ruse like John Walsh or like some Twitter users think? Do you think Brian will ever be found, or has his head start allowed him to get far enough away from authorities to where he's not going to ever come in and answer the questions? And if Brian doesn't come in, will we ever have any answers, or will we just be stuck in limbo like we have with many other cases in the past? Let me know in the chat while I pull up a couple more things to show you before we figure out what we're going to get into. Here on Unirock Live. If you've never been here before, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We do video live streams, but the main thing I do is upload to my main channel, Unirock 2. Check it out. I'll be uploading a video on Gabby. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get it finished. So, you know, one thing I want to show you guys, hold on, let me get this fixed, is there are ways to kind of take a little tiny trip inside of the mind of Brian Laundrie. someone who I think is a complete sociopath, narcissist, psycho. I got my determination from watching his reaction to the police and the way Gabby responded during the police footage. Though there are other things that kind of tell us the mental state of Brian right before Gabby disappeared. And I want to show you those things now really quick. One way we can take a trip inside of Brian's mind is to look at the book he was reading while on the trip with Gabby. Annihilation, Jeff Vandermeer. One of the pages, I believe it's the first page, describes Annihilation as a 2014 novel by Jeff Vandermeer. It's the first in a series of 3 books called the Southern Reach Trilogy. The book describes a team of 4 women, a biologist, anthropologist, a psychologist, and a surveyor, who set out to an area known as Area X. The area is abandoned and cut off from the rest of civilization. They are the 12th expedition. Other expeditions have been fraught with disappearances, suicides, aggressive cancers, and mental trauma. The novel won 2014 Nebula Award for Best Novel and the Shirley Jackson Award for Best Novel. That, though, is probably the most normal thing Brian posted. So I don't know if you guys watched Disenchanted. I showed you this a couple days ago. Brian liked to make stamps. So he would cut out in, clay or whatever, these little stamps and then dip it in ink and stamp it on paper. If you don't know who Lucy is a demon. This is Lucy, a demon in a cartoon called Disenchantment. And Lucy's job is to try to get the princess of the story to do evil things, to kill people, to make bad decisions. Brian said when he posted this, when I pondered whether I should do a Lucy stamp, all I could hear in the deep recesses of my mind was, do it. Do it. Do it. Also, he posted this on Instagram. It seems like a normal picture of him playing tennis with a family member until you read what's said on the side. And then it gets a little disturbing. Sunset games at the tennis ball court and some chicken adventures. Hashtag chicken. And if you've ever looked into, I won't go into why that's so strange. I think a lot of you know why it's weird that he said chicken. We've got this post, another Insta post from Laundrie defacing a $1 bill. The strange thing I can't figure out yet is where he wrote charta malum. You know the Latin root malum, malice, with ill things, nastiness, right? The demonic tail, old art style of the skull, and a pitchfork on the stamp put all over this dollar bill. Very strange. A lot of demons, a lot of reapers, him writing crazy things when he posts this stuff. This is the whole reason I brought this up tonight, because I want you to look at that art right there. Pay attention to that stamp. If you look close, you'll notice that it's a man fighting another man with a knife in his hand, slicing the throat of the other man. The other man, of course, has a bloody sword. In the moment that this man kills this man, Brian writes, how man treats one another. Why is that significant? Because after people discovered Brian's room in a listing that was put out, I believe, by the New York Post, you look right here and you see that this is the same kind of art style as the stamp we shared. You even kind of, I think, can see that single stamp because that kind of looks the same. Either way, though, definitely shows us that Brian and his art style was something he carried forward, and it's not just a single instance. Then you look here, the series of books that he had with them is on the bookshelf. And I don't know why people circled the Darth Vader mask and the US flag. I do think I understand, because it looks like he's defaced the US flag. It looks like it's been burnt. It looks like it's been torn. They want me to explain the chicken part. So in certain circles, underground, the FBI released long ago, 2016. If you guys watched me back then, you guys remember some of this probably. Some of you do. That certain circles of, I'll just say it, pedophiles, describe their victims as chicken. The FBI put that post out. I checked it myself, and it was posted by the FBI, a certain division of the FBI. That post was carried into several conspiracy theories that became popular around that time. Political conspiracy theories, mind you, but still. So they were considered slang in those circles, right? I don't know if that's what Brian was saying when he shared that. I doubt it. I do think you'll hear people say that in the future about Brian Laundrie. I do think his Instagram posts, that hashtag, some of the other things he shared will be a staple in YouTube videos going forward about him, regardless of why he posted that. I don't know, but it is a little bit, I'd say, concerning myself. I didn't ever think I'd see something like that come back up in a story. And when I saw hashtag chicken with him playing tennis with a young kid, yeah, it kind of reminded me of that those insane conspiracy theories that we ended up finding out about that FBI posting from an old FBI, a defunct, it was like, this might have been in 1997 to 2003, a special division of the FBI that was made for early on cybercrime. And it was a pocket of pedophiles in Italy were using those words to describe their victims, essentially. Is that what Brian was using? I doubt it. I doubt it, because you never saw him do it again. I'm not making that charge. I'm not making that claim, but it is something at least noticeable here. The U.S. flag thing circled looks like a pistol, and that's why it's circled. Looks like a pistol. Oh, shit. Holy shit. I thought that was a flag. You're right. That looks like a pistol. Let me zoom in on it. You're completely right, Menace. I see it. I see it. Hold on. Let me take a picture of it and show you. Oh, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Yeah. Okay. There. Okay. Now, Menace was saying this looked like a pistol. Let me show you what he meant. And I love Opera. Opera web browser. If you don't use Opera web browser, you're crazy, because Opera has features like this built in. So here we go. This is what menace means. So there's the barrel. There's the trigger. There's the handle. This is where the trigger would be. This is the barrel. It does look like a pistol. I completely can see it now. See, what I saw, Menace, when I first looked at it, was a little different. I saw this. So I thought by glancing that I just thought it blended in, but there might have been like a pole right here, and that this was an American flag that had been ripped up or something, you know, like here's the stripes, here's where the stars would be. That's what I thought we were looking at. But now that I look at it from the perspective you just said, Menace, I can completely see it. Definitely looks like a pistol. This looks like where the trigger would be. There's the grip. And if you had sights on it, the sights would be right here. There's the trigger. Okay. You are correct, sir. I definitely agree with you. Now, maybe it's just a decoration. And we got Batman. Is there anything here we haven't looked at yet? This looks old school. Why does this look so old school? You know? Huh. Really weird, isn't it? Have you seen the look at the book and what's on top? Looks like it could be a pistol. Are you talking about the van? Okay. Okay. I'm thinking back to our stream where we pulled the video and scrubbed through and took an image of the book laying behind the van. Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you. So yeah, and this was put out by the New York Post. Brian Laundries' bedroom inside the home of America's most wanted man. And if we go down here, it says, authorities continue the manhunt for Brian Laundrie, and the public speculates wildly about his whereabouts. The Post has acquired property documents that reveal a string of recent home sales by the Laundrie family, as well as photos that take us inside the residence he shares with his parents. FBI agents raided the fugitive's Florida bedroom Monday, a day after Gabby's now confirmed remains were found, and the day before her death was ruled a homicide. Authorities discovered Petito's body Sunday. We know all this. Teton County, we know all that. Meanwhile, mystery swirls around Brian's family as they went to radio silent Tuesday when their legal team canceled a press conference. Why did they do that, by the way? That was scheduled to take place in the wake of the FBI swarm. After their home was officially declared a crime scene, Brian's parents, Roberta, 55, and Chris, 62, were seen pulled out of their home while investigators worked on collecting and tracking down evidence that might help explain the sudden disappearance. I've never seen Brian's mother. Okay, there she is. Got it. The Post acquired photos inside of the family's 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in Northport, Florida, which was purchased by the Laundries in 2015. 2 years later, they attempted to list the home for $215,000. What? 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 They purchased it for $120,000 and tried to sell it for $215,000? The Laundries took the home off the market shortly after in January of 2018. They con artists. They suck. One of the images from the 2017 real estate listing takes us inside Brian's presumed bedroom. A disturbing poster of dark figures with hammers and spears violently attacking other figures can be seen resting on the 2-case bookshelf. Other items observed include what appears to be a gun propped up next to the shelves over his bed and a Darth Vader mask and a series of Watchmen books. According to DC Comics, Watchmen takes place in an alternate world where the mere presence of American superheroes change history. It begins with a murder mystery before unfolding into a planet-altering conspiracy when a retired hero is killed. I've seen it. I love it. It's all good. Social media sleuths claimed Laundrie, apparently an avid reader, is also spotted engrossed in a book about women who go missing. In a video uploaded to the couple's YouTube channel, the person of interest in the case is briefly shown reading what appears to be Jeff Vandermeer's Annihilation, a 2014 novel about 4 females who venture into so-called Area X, where 3 of them die and the 4th disappears permanently. Meanwhile, the rest of his family home appears to be quite ordinary, spanning 3 bedrooms with 2 baths. Who cares? This is the only home owned. Who cares? Property records show they also owned a home in Venice, Florida, condo, in which they bought for $100,000, and they sold that this summer for $144,000, just 2 weeks on the market in July. They also purchased another Northport home made up of 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms in January of 2020 before the pandemic. And they sold the home a year later on March for $140,000. The photos of the listing show vacant rooms with no furniture or possessions. So this is where Brian, this is a weird, that's a weird looking room. That is a weird looking room. I'm just saying. Brian has been missing since September 14th when he went for a hike. We know that. Man, what did you do, you little psycho? What did you do, Brian? God, he pisses me off. I don't like him. I do not like him. I would like to know what was on the logs, too, in the drive-by video. There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of mystery right now. I'm just worried that if Brian successfully gets away, we might not have many more answers, you know? Let's go. Let's go. Oh, okay. It's just showing stuff we've already seen. What's with the spooky music? Oh, copywritten. Yeah. Video from Gabby Petito's YouTube shows a whole different look at the ill-fated couple's van of their cross-country road trip. Petito was warned by a YouTube park ranger her relationship with Laundrie seemed toxic. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is completely different than this. What in the hell happened between this and this? Oh. The body cam footage, I've been watching it a lot lately. The body cam footage pretty much tells you everything you need to see. Laundrie family attorney cancels press conference amid Gabby Petito probe. Hey, there's the mother walking out. There's the mother walking out. Man. I just don't know what to think anymore. Bertolino had invited members of the press to the Hyatt Regency Long Island in Hapaj for the conference, but he canceled only hours later. It would have constituted a rare public statement on behalf of the family and the first direct access to media since Long Island native Petito was reported missing September 11th. Petito and Laundrie, blah, blah, blah. Laundrie refused to speak to the police when Petito was reported missing. An application for a search warrant said his parents, Christopher and Roberto, directed police to their attorney for questions. A nationwide effort was sparked to find Petito last week. The Laundries sat on the sidelines, issuing a statement through Bertolino supporting the search, but saying that they would remain in the background. Yeah, you wouldn't remain in the background if it was Brian. You would, if Gabby had did this to Brian, you wouldn't be in the background. If Brian was left there, you wouldn't be in the background. You'd be begging all of us to help you. You'd be begging all of us to help you. You'd be demonizing her and, you know, pretty fucked up, honestly.
Video, they were pulled over, her and Brian pulled over outside of the Arches National Park, Moab, Utah. And the police did separate the couple at that time, and yet they named it not really a domestic disturbance, but...
So they want to save people. That's what they do, is save people day in and day out, and I'm sure many of them are.
Feeds that a weekend ground search and aerial search Monday of the 25,000-acre preserve has yet to yield any answers, but we must press on. Please be aware the Carlton Reserve is a vast and unforgiving location at times. It is currently waist deep in water in many areas. This is a dangerous work for the search crews as they are wading through gator and snake-infested swamps and flooded hiking and biking trails. Julie, this announcement comes after authorities spent most of the day yesterday searching the...
I'm right on the corner of Main Street by Moonflower, and we're driving by, and I'd like to report a domestic dispute. Florida with the white van, Florida license plate.
What were they doing?
We drove by, and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
He was slapping her?
The gentleman, Brian, was slapping the girl, Gabby.
Yes, and then we stopped. They ran up and down the sidewalk. He proceeded to hit her, hopped in the car, and they drove off.
So after receiving that call, very disturbing phone call, Julie, the police did respond there in Moab, Utah, and that's where we see this body cam video.
I want to see if we got anything else from John Walsh. Let's see here.
I looked at it with an FBI.
All right, we saw that. We saw that one.
New tonight, crime scene tape has come down and a memorial is growing in Bridgerton-Teton National Forest in Wyoming. That's where a body was found over the weekend, thought to be that of Gabby Petito.
The memorial is just the latest detail to unfold as the mystery behind Gabby's disappearance continues to grow tonight. Fox 13's Sydney Glenn has the latest from Teton County, Wyoming.
On what should be a fun trip to see all nature has to offer in Wyoming.
Didn't expect that one coming here.
A dark cloud looms as news spread of Gabby Petito likely being found dead.
It's a little scary when you hear about such things.
Kyle Johnson and his fiancee Courtney Muchler say it's scary.
I would say it definitely is. Just because you don't know what exactly happened, you don't know who could be out there exactly.
Husband and wife Nilesh and Sharu Singh have been closely following this case ever since they booked the trip.
And then suddenly from Google, we started getting this news that this woman is missing. So suddenly on daily basis, it started to appear on my news feed.
Now seeing law enforcement here, they're feeling uneasy.
We've just been trying to keep our eyes and ears open and just to know what's happening and what's the government doing about this and how safe are we really.
This news has kept us
searching this area. We also found what appears to be a memorial right across the creek over here. This area was closed for several days as law enforcement respects.
I'm so sorry about your loss. My heart goes out to everybody. She's a beautiful angel now.
There's a lot of people praying for him right now. I know we are. We're thinking about him.
I think that's about all we got right now. Yep. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream so I can get to work early tomorrow and hopefully have a video out for you around noon or in the early afternoon. That video will be released on my main channel, which is now UniRock2 over here. If you guys want to see the video, I will drop the link. It's strange to me why. I'll drop the link to the channel in the chat sometime here soon. UniRock2 though, you can just search it, and we'll hopefully have a lot more for you. Kaloli says you can see bruises on her neck in the angel photo her dad posted. You need to zoom in and Zapruder that shit when you have time. I will, man. I will. I appreciate you being here. Hopefully anybody new in the chat hits the subscribe button. If you want to help me out, you can share, like, dislike, leave a comment. Just let me know what you guys want to see, what you want us to do, and keep an eye out. If there's anything else that happens in this story, we'll bring it to you. I'll be uploading, and I think I'm going to go ahead tomorrow and keep an eye out for John Walsh's show, because John's the only one out there who's calling it how it needs to be said. I think he basically said everything that we're thinking when it comes to why the parents helped Brian, why they would allow Gabby just to be, what Brian's been with this girl for years, never left her side. He shows up home without her. They expect us to just believe that they didn't know. Well, I agree with John Walsh. I think that they bought their son some time. If anything ever comes out that would change my mind, I'd let you know. But that's how I feel right now. And buying him that time, if that causes him to get away or to be missing for a long period of time, all that's going to do is make it to where we never find out what happened. And that would be the worst case scenario. This story gets worse and worse all the time. All the time. No, thank you guys. I can't do this without you. So thank you all for being here. You guys, excellent numbers, excellent turnout tonight. Really appreciate you. Keep an eye out, though. I'll be uploading on both channels, and we should be live tomorrow night. And I'm just thinking, I think that's it. So I'll see you then. Thank you.